Fifth round of the FA Cup and a massive game. I consider this to be the biggest game of the season. I know not everybody agrees, but I think so. A lot of people would prefer to run in the league, but they're not mutually exclusive. We can have a go in the league and we can go for this. I mean, we're playing this Tuesday. Don't play again until the weekend. Put out as strong a team as possible. And certainly David Moyes has indicated in his press conference, I'll play you a couple of snippets in a minute, that he's going to be going for it as well. He argues quite rightly that actually put a big team out against Stockport and Doncaster, and he did. However, when I look at it, I do wonder if there's a perception at the moment that we don't play too well against the big teams. We do well against the teams in and around us. We do well against the teams lower than us. Against the big teams, we ain't so good. David Moyes disagrees. This is what he had to say.
I'm really pleased with how the players have done and how we've come on. I think we gave Manchester United a very good game at the stadium. It was a strange decision that changed the game when we were winning 1-0, that it changed it and got them back in it. But overall, I think that we've competed quite well against the top teams. We've got a bit to go yet to be at that level, and that can take a long time, and sometimes it's very difficult to get there. But I've got to say, I hope we can go there, give them a really good game. You know, we want to try and get through in the cup. The FA Cup has always caused upsets, so we've got to try and do that this time.
Now, as I say, I understand the perception is that, no, we don't. We don't do well against those bigger teams. Let's just have a little look at it this season, because I think it's a mixed bag, although I would certainly agree that results haven't gone with us. The first, your idea of a big team and my idea of a big team, might be slightly different. And I think you've got to put aside the fact that we might be able to laugh and joke that we're ahead of Arsenal and ahead of Spurs and things like that. They're big teams, right? So Arsenal, they beat us 2-1. I tell you now, we deserved to win that game. We had more shots on target. We were on a more game. There were a couple of individual errors from Declan Rice and Yarmolenko, but we deserved to win that game. We were a better team. There's no doubt about it. Go back and look at the stats. Go back and watch the highlights. It's clear. The next one was Spurs. That was 3-3. Okay, we were the best team in the second half. Spurs were the best team in the first half. If we had our time again against Tottenham, I'd fancy playing them now, quite frankly. I think that was Tottenham at their best. Right then when we played them, Tottenham at their swashbuckling best when they were at the peak of the season. And it was 3-3. The next time was Manchester City. It was a 1-1 draw. Well, that's okay. So already we've played 3 top teams. We've had 2 draws and a loss. But I thought we played well in all of them. Next one, Liverpool. Liverpool beat us 2-1. Again, we've not got the result at this point. But I thought we played well. I thought it took a real bit of magic at the end. Was it possibly Shaqiri to Jota? Something like that. They got there at the end. But again, we played really well. The next big team we played was Man United 3-1. We should have been 4-0 up at half-time. The ball went out of play when they scored their first goal. Don't get me wrong, he made his changes, Solskjaer, brought a load of players on, and they played well when they got back into the game. But had we been 2 or 3 goals up, then I don't think he'd have even bought all those subs. Yeah, I know. If my auntie had a what's it, she'd be my uncle. Ifs, what's, buts, maybes. But my point is, whilst the results have not gone particularly well for us, actually we've performed well against these bigger teams. The last 2 would probably not support that theory. Chelsea 3-0, Liverpool 3-1. We were rubbish in both of them. But can we on our day beat these big teams? And I think the answer is an unequivocal yes. Let's look at the 5th round here. This is how important this game is, this game tonight. Can we beat Manchester United tonight? Are they going to take it seriously? We'll deal with a team in a minute and who I think David Moyes will play, because there's certain rumours that certain players won't be featuring this evening, and I think we can probably guess a couple of them anyway. So here's the teams in the 5th round. Burnley, Bournemouth, Man U, West Ham, Swansea, Man City, Leicester, Brighton, Sheffield United, Bristol City, Everton, Tottenham, Wolves, Southampton, Barnsley and Chelsea. We get through, half of them are gone. You know there's going to be an upset. Hopefully it's not us. Even if it's not an upset, Either Wolves or Southampton are going out. Both Everton and Tottenham can't go through. Something's got to give here. And this is why this is so vitally important. Because then you're into really giddy territory. Yes, Man City, I've got to say, Man City are the only team, out of everyone, that I am a bit fearful of this season. I've got to say, I think they've started to get really into their stride, into their form. I don't know if you agree. It looks like Pep Guardiola's he's just got the oomph back, hasn't he? He's got his mojo back, and you can understand why he lost it. Of course, he lost his mother in the summer, but there seems to be a turning of the tide. Liverpool have had a couple of really strong years. City now, it looks like they're back. I wouldn't want to play City particularly, but you never know what happens. Maybe someone knocks them out. Stranger things have happened. David Moyes said in his press conference that you need a bit of luck in the draw, and I totally agree. Maybe this is a bit of bad luck is drawing Man U, but if we get through it, I was to say Chelsea don't draw against Man City. One of them goes out, something like that in the next round. You never know. We might get Bristol City or something. Who knows? It could be. So I think he's going to take it seriously for this game, because surely Moyes will know this as well. So who's he going to select? Is he going to select a strong team? Well, this is what he had to say about it.
Well, I think we've picked strong teams against Stockport and against Doncaster, so we're certainly not picking a weakened team. We may have one or two changes through injury or through suspension or whatever it may be, but we're plans to try and go there with a really strong team, and if we can get through into the next round of the cup.
So it's one or two changes. Okay, here's the thing. Antonio, the rumour is that he's injured. Let's be perfectly honest. We hope he's not, but he may well be. He may well be injured, which gives us a couple of things. Is he going to play this false nine? Now, I do worry a little bit about the false nine. I do worry that he's perhaps looked at Man City, who, of course, played Phil Foden there, and he might be thinking, hello, yeah, this is really what I want to do. But he might be able to make it work if he does. I wouldn't be surprised if we lined up with a formation. I'm not going to keep labouring the point, but I don't want Yarmolenko up there. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the formation and we see there's no recognised striker and I think, oh no, where are we going to attack, where the goal's going to come from? But actually, that we create quite a lot from within that. It certainly would suit Moyes down to the ground defensively. And I think our squad is probably better suited to play in that way. And he knows it. And what he said in the press conference as well was quite telling. He went on to say that everybody knows where we're weak. We decided not to spend 15 or 20 million.
Tomorrow.
Well, it's been well documented that we don't have lots of different options, James. We're well aware of that. We chose to do it. I didn't want to waste 15, 20 million on something which I wasn't sure about. So that was the option we chose to take.
Which brings up Odebeko. And here's the thing. This is what he's had to say. I almost poked myself in the eye with my glasses in. Here's what he has had to say about Odebeko, which I do think is quite interesting, actually. So, he has said he's been training with the first team, but his biggest problem, he's just got back from injury. He's had COVID and he has to isolate. We know this. My biggest problem is I haven't seen much of him over the last 3 months because he's had a really bad hamstring. He's back in training and I'm quite impressed with him daily. Now, as we understand, particularly if you'd have joined us for the Talk West Ham last night, we understand he's training with the first team. So, if he's impressed with him daily, that I guess there's no big secret there, is there? That sort of confirms that. So he's impressing him in training. He's getting closer, but I just need to see a bit more of him. He scored a couple of goals against Southampton under 23. He's watched the game. I've been pleased with him. If the opportunities came along, I felt there was a chance to introduce him in some way, I wouldn't be against doing so. That's the last bit. It doesn't sound emphatic. It doesn't sound glowing. It doesn't sound like he wants to. Sounds like he's doing. If the opportunities came, language is important, I was saying. If the opportunities came along, if I felt there was a chance to introduce him in some way, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, when you're keen to do, your language is quite different. I'm keen to introduce him. I'm just looking for an opportunity to get him out there. I want to see him play. I've been impressed in training. I want to see if he can do it out on a pitch. There'll be a lot of other ways you could say that sentence, which would indicate that you were far more you know, eager to get him on. So I suspect we won't see him, which is a shame. I also think he'll be on the bench. I believe Souček will play because, well, I just do. I don't believe Moyes will switch to a back five. I think he'll stick with a four. I'd imagine he will do the Fredericks thing. I mean, somebody brought up a great point on Talk West Ham last night again, which was that actually Bowen had played particularly well against Telles, who we expect to play at left back. But we don't know about these things. The other reason for playing a back four would be because Soufal had been run ragged as a wing back with a back five by Rashford. The truth of the matter is, we don't know if it's Shaw or Telles playing at left back. We don't know if it's Dan James, Rashford or Anthony Martial playing on the left wing. We don't know. But I do expect... Number one, we haven't got the squad to start playing these loads of different players. I expect Fornals to play in this. That is the truth. Now, the interesting thing is, what's he going to do if... I mean, there's a rumour that Declan Rice ain't going to be playing. Who knows? Who knows whether any of this is true? Maybe it's a little bit of... what am I going to say? A little bit of smoke and mirrors from Moyes just putting it out. I mean, Declan Rice would be a hell of a loss. And Declan Rice, I think, would be up for it against Man U. And I think he played well against Man U. And I think he played well against Man U when they beat us 3-1 as well. I thought he was, particularly in the first half, possibly the best player on the pitch. It's going to be interesting. I think he's going to go... I'll tell you what I think will be showing if David Moyes is really taking it seriously. I will understand that we can't play the centre forward if Antonio's not available. I'll understand if Declan Rice has taken a knock and can't play. I'll even understand that Fornals being in there because I think it might be a benefit to West Ham to play Fornals in there. If that's all we see, then fine. The real acid test, and here's how it is. This is what will tell you whether David Moyes wants to win the FA Cup or not. And it will be if Dawson and Ogbonna is the centre-back pairing. That will tell you everything. That will tell you everything. If you get Balbuena and Ogbonna, or whatever, you know, any other combination aside from the two I mentioned, I'm not saying he doesn't want to win it, but it will tell you whether he's taking it as seriously as the league. And I'm sure he will come out with the cliched answers, and I'm sure you'll the platitudes and everything else, and I'm sure you'll hear, well, of course I want to win the FA Cup. But that will tell you. And I'm not overly doubting him. I'm not dismissing it out of hand. I want him to want it, if you know what I mean. I really do. But it's going to be interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out in particular. It's hard to be confident because Man U is such a good team. But I am buzzing. And the longer the day goes on, the more I get cup fever. So, I believe it's on BBC One. Join us an hour before kick-off for the build-up show. Charlie will be doing a watch-along. We'll be up with a review afterwards. And, of course, our Patreon player ratings just afterwards. Bring it on.